Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? So, did you invest in yourself today? Yes, no. I'm doing it right now. Those are the choices. Friday Night Flips is a little bit different than every other day. I'm more open to questions. I'm more open to conversation. And we still go over some of the news, that I think is, interesting. At least for me. I mean, I live in the news. So let's start with that. Ethereum's Q2 performance saw $1.2 billion in inflows into the ETFs. That's actually big news. Does that rival the Bitcoin ETFs or BTC ETFs? No. But does that say that Ethereum is strong? Abso-freaking-lutely. Yo! They shouldn't get deleted because you should learn how to watch your mouth. I got somebody local over there that'll pop you in the back of the head if you get out of line, sir. Where's patient one? Yo, Cornell, what's going on? Thank you for letting me know that you invested in yourself. Kutanix just acting up. I don't know why. He's such a nice guy. Really. I mean, he hasn't given me any of that barbecue stuff yet, but I think I have to actually go see him to get it. He's not going to ship it. So, dark chocolate with a nice strong red. And I mean like 70% dark chocolate. It's freaking awesome. So, right now, with the bills that are in place, the bills that are coming, you've got a new CFTC person being put up, Brian Quintez, and he's being reviewed by Congress right now. He would be the new chair of the CFTC. Why it has taken so long, I don't know why, but I would think that he's going to have a lot of work. I would think that he's going to have a lot of work. So when I look at that, I'm just sitting back and I'm kind of going, I want to hear what this guy has to say. I want to hear what he's got going on. He's very crypto friendly. Doesn't mean he's going to let things slide, but it does mean that he's crypto friendly, which is not a bad thing, right? So I'm just trying to understand, what direction does he come from? Is he just a sycophant and he's just going to do what he's told, or is he actually going to do the job? That's what I'm looking for. So there's that. So far, the pick for the SEC hasn't done squat. He's given a lot of jibber jabber, a lot of flapping of the gums, but I haven't seen a significant change in the SEC and how they handle business. I've seen kicks down the road, which doesn't make me happy. So there's that. So, I'm just looking at things and just figuring it out. It's only 81 degrees in my office, and I feel a little hot. Hold on. Tonight's question, as every Friday, is: did you invest in yourself today? Somebody said no. Who said no? Who said no? Because if you're here, that goes toward investing in yourself. So no should never be an answer. And if you're doing it right now, well, that's also a good thing. And if you are here, you are doing it right now. So it's not a trick question, but, it's honest. I need to slow down. I need a fan right there. I should go get one. Then you've got global regulators thinking that they like tokenized assets or tokenized bank deposits over stablecoins. Now, that was a study, interestingly enough, by JP Morgan Chase. Yeah, Jamie Dimon's spot. And I'm looking at that and I'm kind of going, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. And some would say, oh, he's only saying that because no. That is actually valid. That is actually valid. Listen to it again. Global regulators' preference for tokenized bank deposits over stablecoins may encourage institutions to prioritize blockchain-based financial instruments. I want you to think about that, because last night for a while we've been talking about, you can actually see how those financial industry, instruments on the traditional banking side are starting to be translated over into the crypto side. And with assets under management, bank deposits, you can see how that would actually play well into that space, which is why tokenized assets, or RWA, is going to be by far the biggest piece of Web3. Just saying. Max Salas, what's going on? No, the guy that I booed last night can't come back. Don't annoy me with questions like that. No. We do not accept rudeness. And my fear is that we have people here that already are a little shy. People that watch the show religiously every day that never chat. People like that don't belong here, because we want those people involved in the conversation. And that scares them off. We don't need that. So no, that's not even an appropriate question. You know better. Max Salas, what's good? I invested by divesting some profit. So you did your own research. You understood your entries and exits, and you absolutely invested deliberately. I like that. Absolutely like that. Rick Ritchie in his house. Thank you for letting me know. Holmes house, well invested. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not curious as to who answered no as much as I'm curious as to why they would answer no if they're here. I mean, think about it. You have to either have already been a subscriber, right? Or you have to have subscribed for at least 10 minutes. So that person that answered no is already a subscriber. I mean, think about it. We've been here for under 10 minutes. So that person is a subscriber and they answered no. It was probably you. I'm guessing it was Utanic. That's what I'm guessing it is. But that's all right. We'll ignore him for right now, him and his shenanigans, right? What else is going on in the world? Charles Schwab. Well, Charles has E-Trade. Not E-Trade, I'm sorry, that's Morgan Stanley. Charles has Thinkorswim. And they are prepping Thinkorswim to do Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, for those people who took my class on learning how to do your own research, you know that when they made the first they floated the bubble, right? This is what we're thinking about doing. Then they said, this is what we're going to do. And now they're giving us a little bit more detail. This is a bonus news excerpt where they're saying, we're giving you a little bit more detail. We're going to tell you what we're going to do. And we hope that's good news. And what they're doing is, we're going to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum for all the money that you're spending flipping your platform to handle Bitcoin and Ethereum. You should have just bought a small exchange. That's what you should have done. Who knows? Maybe they're negotiating now, but you should have just bought a small exchange. Why is that? A small exchange comes with whatever coins they're dealing with right now. Buy the small exchange, come into the scene with more coins than everybody else, and start snatching customers. Have some brass. Have some brass. I hope one of these banks snatches up an exchange. I hope one of them is listening to me and says, you know what? We should snatch up a small exchange. We should listen to Eddie J on Grow My Bag and snatch up a small exchange. That way, we're immediately in the business. We have more than enough time to integrate on the back end. Like I said, what would I do if I was a bank? Any bank. Any bank. You know, a bank with money that can afford to go buy something. What would I do? I'm going to go buy a crypto exchange. I'm going to have my security people go all through it. I'll announce, obviously, that we bought a crypto exchange. We're already in the crypto business. The first thing I would do is make sure that the accounting is in sync. Second step, make sure that I can on and off ramp fiat quickly. Why is that? That's all you need. That's all you need. All you want is the ability to quickly on and off ramp to your local fiat. That's all you want. That's all you need. That's all you need. Just looking at the messages. By accent, answered no by accent, you know I'm going to give you grief over that. You will never live that down, sir. Yeah, you can't change the answer. That's what sucks. But that's actually good. Here's your answer. Give it some thought. Hutanik just stays in the corner. I think he just wants to stay in the corner. That's all he wants out of life. He loves my corner. Every now and then we get somebody that brings pizza and beer, so he loves being there. But back to a bank buying a crypto exchange. Snatch up a small crypto exchange. Now you're offering more than just Bitcoin and Ethereum. Why? Excuse my language. I'm going to say it right now. So if you got little kiddies running around, cover their ears. I'm about to say a cuss word. You're a dumbass if you're going to enter the crypto space only playing with Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's right. I said it. I said it out loud, full chested. You're an idiot if you're going to enter the crypto market and all you're going to do is have Bitcoin and Ethereum. Great choices, of course, obvious. Exactly. Obvious. Then you come up with the other dumbass questions, which are going to be, sorry, I cursed again. Don't worry about it. My mother's going to yell at me later, so it's all good. I'm looking for my pen. Have you guys seen my pen? Oh, that's going to be annoying. Oh, there it is. So, because I like to hold something in my hands so I don't bang on the table as much. So, you enter the market. Everybody else is going to enter the market with Bitcoin and Ethereum. You bought an exchange. You're entering the market with whatever that exchange has. Anything more than Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because the next dumb question is, how are you going to offer, at least in that space, how are you going to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum and not have XRP, Solana? How are you not going to have that stuff? You're late to the game and this is what you show up with? That's like showing up the day after the party and showing up with a small bag of 50-cent chips. Bag like this big. Yeah, why are you here? Why'd you bother to come? Traffic? Oh. Yeah. I know it's pretty harsh, but isn't it obvious like that? Rick Ritchie, what's going on, man? I know it's harsh. No, they do not have to get their feet wet. No, you know what? The both of you go in the corner. Both of you go in the corner because what I say next is directed at you, especially Hutanik. Why? You don't like banks. So your punk behind bank is going to enter the crypto space with you. Yo, Ham's house. Serious. So you're going to enter this space and all you have are the top two cryptos. You're boring. I have no reason to ever come to you. None. If I wanted to be so boring, I would on-ramp my money with Cash App and call it a day. For real, for real. You have more than enough money to go buy a small exchange. What does that small exchange give you? I laid it out before. I laid it out weeks ago. Here's what you get when you buy that small exchange. You get the technology and you get the people. Not just the coins. You get the technology and you get the people, which means you have in-house expertise to get the job done. Because some of these banks think, oh, well, we've got a stock trading platform, so it translates. No, you're an idiot. It does not translate well. There are a lot of things you have to do, a lot of things that you have to account for, all the way down to the decimal point. How many decimal points can a bank handle? A bank normally handles 2. If you're lucky, 4. Just saying. I'm just going to put it out there for you. So you're going to be an idiot and you're going to enter a hot market offering two products. These banks are still thinking tradition instead of innovation. Oh, Jay Shelton. Jay Shelton. Yes, thank you very much. Exactly. Exactly. And you're going to come into the market and you're going to be like, oh, we're going to do stable coins and we're going to be the best at stable coins. We're going to really do good at stable coins. I heard Jamie Dimon say that and I was like, dude, do you even know what you're saying? You don't have the excuse that your team doesn't understand crypto. You've been in the crypto game for a while. You just don't want to admit it. JP Coin, remember that little thing? Onyx, remember that company? The name change that happened? Yeah. So you're going to enter this market with Bitcoin and Ethereum. L1L, what's good? They don't fear volatility. They don't fear volatility. You want to know what they fear? They fear getting their butts kicked by these tiny little exchanges that offer more. Tiny little exchanges that don't really have on-ramps, that are just like, well, you know, we've got a little deal with like Transact or MoonPay or one of these other on-ramp services. You're a bank. You don't have an on-ramp problem. Link the accounts. How hard is that? How hard is that? Automatically, everybody that has an exchange account is offered the opportunity, because you can't just open one up. That's illegal. You offer them the opportunity to open up a bank account. And, because I know these dumbasses won't do it, you offer them a reason to open up a bank account. Well, we know you're on-ramping your money, so, you know, we're going to give you more interest when you deposit your money. Because who are they going up against? Banks have a real problem, and I hope all of you understand this. Let me read this first. Oh, yeah, no. Retail, no, they're not. Yeah. I knew you would catch on, Hutanic. I knew you would see where I was coming from. Rick Ritchie, For real. If you're a bank, and like I said, if you're a bank, you want to enter into a new space, what example do you have? Sorry, taking my sneakers off. What example do you have in the recent past, I would say, right? In the recent past of not doing what's dead ass in front of you. What recent example do you have that should have already taught you the lesson? The first answer is wrong. You want me to tell you the answer? Fintechs. So you're a bank. You had to first put up with PayPal, Stripe, Venmo when it was separate from PayPal. PayPal bought 8 different companies that were doing the same thing and merged them into PayPal. Venmo is PayPal, just to give you an idea. So that was your first problem. Then you have all these online-only banks. And so a couple of these banks went out and they bought them. Quietly, no fanfare, quietly bought them. I feel you understand. You got shook, you bought them, and you're gonna let it rock. Let me tell you something. They're not learning the lesson. Innovation is king. So you either do the right thing now, or your fate is sealed. What did Circle file to be? A bank. I said it this morning. If you're a stablecoin issuer, you want to be a bank. Go read it. It favors a stablecoin issuer to be a bank. There's so many advantages to doing that. That's why Circle was all over it. Then you had Ripple do the same thing. Why? RLUSD. And they don't necessarily want to be competition to the other banks. They just want to be afforded some of the things that banks are afforded. Smart, right? So let's get this straight. Been saying it for a while. So crypto businesses, it's easier to become a bank than it is for banks to become crypto companies, because these banks aren't smart enough to hire people like me and others that come from that space, that understand that space, understand the products, and say, we should hire this person because they understand what the products should be. They have a strategy on how to do this. They understand how to integrate that into our service as we transition from traditional, right, to the future. Name a bank that's done that. Name a bank that's done that. The biggest innovation that I've seen thus far in recent history has been from, I don't know, freaking Kraken. I know Kraken's not the biggest thing in the United States, but they're second to Coinbase? And in a lot of ways, they're ahead of the game, right? Coinbase got all the custody services. They got all the custody business. And Kraken said, hold my beer. We're going to be a bank. And then they said, because they were two-fisting, they said, hold my beer, we're going to become a bank. And then they said, hold my other beer, as they go out and buy NinjaTrader, a stock brokerage. So now they have a license that comes with that. Banks and stocks, they're immediately in the same space as the rest of the investment companies that are out there. Immediately. Damn. Oh, wait. And I'll read all these in a minute. Just give me a second. So then, what do you have? Here comes Robinhood just for S&Gs. Just for S&Gs. You know, we bought some OpenAI stock. We're gonna tokenize that. Wow. Brass. Elephant level brass. Nobody's talking about Kraken though. Everybody got really ticked off about Robinhood, and I'm like, how are you not paying attention to Kraken? What? They've got crypto and stocks. Bam, bam. Wait until they really start marketing. And I'm going to say this. You gotta be quiet. You gotta be quiet. If you're this quiet, you know they've got something else going on. No, they're not paying me. I'm just paying attention. All right, so let me read some of this stuff. I know you guys have been trying to communicate. In my opinion, Jay Shelton says, in my opinion, Charles Schwab is only offering BTC and ETH to suit those that are already wealthy, and they can be added to the IRAs. Again, my opinion. Well, there was an executive order that says, well, we're gonna bring 401ks into it, which probably includes Roth IRAs, that kind of stuff. Give you the ability to buy straight in without having to go through an ETF like IBIT, because that's what they've been doing. Look at IBIT strategy. BlackRock has IBIT, and they have a whole bunch of other ETFs. Want to know why they rarely have an outflow? Because all the other ETFs buy. And what happens? All the other ETFs buy. They're buying from the Fidelities, the BlackRocks, everybody else that's out there. ARK, 21 shares, they're all buying. That's how they buy. That's how they sell. That's how they're maneuvering their money, right? Just saying. What else was there? Big banks are not going anywhere. I think you're wrong. We can have that conversation. I just think you're wrong. I think it'd be a great debate. They already have their blockchain technology. They don't. Like Broadridge and Canton blockchain. You think those things are good. I'm telling you now, the biggest problem they're going to have is that is for internal use. Interoperability, you have to talk to another blockchain. See what I mean? So you're right. They have their own blockchains. JP Morgan has theirs. A lot of them have their own. Franklin Templeton is building their own. A lot of financial institutions have their own. But as soon as you go outside your bank, and that's the whole purpose, what are you doing? Oh, you're going to bed with like XRP, Chainlink. You're working with established blockchains. That's what you're doing. That is what you're doing. You want to move money fast, cheap, not have to deal with Swift. Boom, there you go. That's what's going on. So yeah, paying attention to that. Let me make this, because I'm only seeing top chats. I need to see all the chats. I need to see all of them. I'm greedy. I need to see everything. So tell you what I want, what I really, really want. That last sentence, which makes up XRP, which makes XRP a small player in the space. No, makes XRP a huge player in the space, because again, interoperability between the banks, you're going to have to choose one of the blockchains that they work with. Right now, XRP seems to be quite popular. Don't forget, XRP was there first. XRP was there years ago before the SEC took them to court. Those relationships are still there. They're still there. It didn't take a lot to walk back into those projects and watch the lights flicker back on and get everything started again. Yeah. American Express has been using them for years. You can research that. XRP is well entrenched. Well entrenched. That's one of the reasons why they wanted to go after XRP. Why they wanted to go after Ripple. The fear was already there. Ripple could take down Swift. Fear. The term quaking in boots comes to mind. Could just be me. I don't know. Then you have banks fear change. For a majority of humans, that is the most common psychological burden. They are way too comfortable, way too spoiled, making easy money without doing much work. Nailed it. Board is usually old people having their heads up there. Yep. It's not about yield, Hotanic. It's not about yield. It's not about yield. It's a different kind of vehicle. Remember I told you before, different things do different things. Different blockchains are meant for doing different things. XRP is meant for movement. Not necessarily investment. It's meant for movement. That's all I'm going to say. I know you do your research. Go research that. I know you do. Most overpriced coin on the market. Telling you it's not. They do a lot more than you think. Amazing how Kraken went from being hacked to where they are now. Dead serious. Everybody's been hacked. Nobody's clean and pristine. It is an ongoing, daily, hourly, minute by flippin' minute battle to protect your exchange. Let me tell you something. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm all right with an exchange being hacked. I mean, I don't keep my money there. I don't keep value there. And if I do, it's that quick, and it's only a little bit. It's never a lot. But I'm down with an exchange being hacked, and then they survive and they stay in business. Why? They've been through the fire. They've been through the fire. And I have to tell you something, as a person that my company normally responds to companies that are going through the fire. When the pandemic hit, we were consulting Prudential Retirement. Nobody had done the work that we had to do. I ran that. I was the program manager on that. That went practically through the whole firm. So if you're an exchange and you've been hacked and you've come through that fire, you survived, you're still in business. Yes. How you handle it makes the difference. But you've come through the fire. Wow. I almost don't want to deal with an exchange that hasn't been hacked, because it's your response that tells me your worth. Dead serious. How you handle adversity is how I judge most businesses. I go into businesses, I judge the so-called leaders and managers based on how do you treat your staff? How do you treat your staff? Have you been through the fire to be able to say, well, I've been through the fire? A client asked me the other day, tell me about a situation where you've been through it and you had to make adjustments. So I told them. And then they said, at the end of the meeting, they said, well, do you have any questions? I said, yes, I do. What fire have you been through? I gave them detail. I was expecting detail. They choked on it. Oh, you're one of those. You want to sit there and you want to judge others, but you haven't been through the fire, so you don't know how you'd actually handle it. Calm, cool, and collected, or panicking like a whiny little baby? And right now, I think a lot of these banks are panicking like whiny little babies. No brass to go out and just snatch somebody. Do you know what kind of brass it takes for an exchange to say, we're going to go buy a stock trading company with an established, book of business, established technology? When Kraken bought Ninja Trader, I said it before, when they bought Ninja Trader, they got the staff, the tech, and something else that might be before, even before the customers. They got themselves a whole independent development community. New member. Hot diggity dang. DD, what's good? Oh, snap, not just a member, a big member, big babber. DD, make sure I get your email address so I can add you to the next big bagger meeting. All right? Thank you for joining. So, dead serious, that's a big deal. That's not a small deal. And nobody's listening. Nobody's paying attention to Kraken. If I'm big bank, if I'm Citi, if I'm Bank of America, if I'm JP, if I'm Wells, I'm looking. My team better be looking at Kraken. They're not Dave. They're not Ally. They're not one of these small internet-only banks. No. They dove right in to the investment side of your bank. Oh boy, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And wasn't it a couple of weeks ago that I told you that 82% of the people that have $500,000 and above to invest damn well expect their financial advisors to be well versed in crypto? Oh. Marry that with a stock trading platform, customer facing. The largest growth opportunity in our space is going to be self-service. I really do think it's going to be self-service. Just saying. All right, got that one. Lex Luthor, I advise you to do that research on XRP. Dead serious. Really, I normally run from exchanges that have been hacked, but I see it the same way you do. Very few make it through. That's right. Very few make it through the fire. 8 pause. Hello. In case I didn't say it before, and thank you for letting me know that you invested in yourself. Hanging out with the Big Bagger fam. That's what I'm talking about. What else did I miss? Hootanic. Oh, that was for somebody else. Got that one. Welcome to DD. Double D's. All right. Oh, no, it's XRPI, not XRPL. I have a bunch of XRP too. I have a big, fat, juicy, delicious, sprinkle freaking bag of XRP. I tell you guys what I have and don't have. I even tell you when I forget what I have. I'm totally straightforward with that. I don't tell you how much. I'm just saying I'll let you know if I'm holding something, and I'll let you know if I'm feeling good about what I'm holding. The hype will go away once people realize XRP is not XRPL. No, because everything that you're doing on XRPL is going to be paid for by XRP. Oh. Let's see. XRP just been a pure money grab. At first it was a money grab. Absolutely agree. At first it was a money grab. But think about it. Even if XRP is just gas, so they started the business, did a money grab with XRP. XRP was already running on XRPL, right? And then they realized XRP is very fast, or XRPL is very fast. So how are you going to do things? You're going to do it with XRP. Why? Because that was the only thing they had. Next step. Then they realized the value of the business, which is how they won the court case. The value of the business is to let XRP be free and use it as a demonstration as to what can actually be run on XRPL, the blockchain itself. Oh, so the value is actually XRPL, but everybody's using XRP. Why am I going to create a new coin? XRP is already there. See where I'm going? I can already use XRP for cross-border settlements. Okay. XRP releases on a regular schedule. That's right. Because they're saying, we're going to let that go. We want it to be more decentralized. We're going to keep letting that go. And then we'll buy and we'll let go. We'll buy, we'll let go. They're playing the same game as everybody else. Stitch has an attitude problem. Oh, I think my daughter's home. I think that's what it is. No, I'm not arguing against it. Pay attention to what I'm saying. You guys are writing off XRP, and I'm just like, keep writing it off. I don't care. The way you manage your bags is the way you manage your bags. I'm not going to criticize that. Actually, I'm going to respect your conviction. Not a problem. I'm just sharing with you my thoughts. So, know what I mean? Knowledge is power. XRP are taking money from their holders like taking candy from a baby. Okay, that's your thought on it. I can respect your opinion. I can respectfully disagree. But Ripple's walking into the company saying, yeah, you can create your stable coin on this. You can absolutely do that. And we have the technology to handle it. Not a problem. My dog is going nuts. My baby girl is home and he's absolutely apeshit. Oh my God. Funny as hell. So yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm just saying, XRP is bigger than what most people think. And you're going to see a lot of banks are going to be like, we're going to be great at stable coins. I can't get over that. Jamie said it out loud, full chested. You're going to see a lot of stable coins come on, and you're going to see a lot of stable coins drop. What is your use case? Circle is already here. Tether, under the Genius Act, is going to register USDT. Damn. And they said, well, freaking Circle's not afraid. What are the rules? Well, you got to have dollar for dollar, right? Think about this. You got to have dollar for dollar. And it either needs to be in US dollar or treasuries. They already have $160 billion in US treasuries alone. Arduino is not playing. He's not playing games. He's like, oh, we can do this. We're going to do this. Bring on the competition. So now I want you to think about this. XRP enters the United States officially. Circle is already here with USDC, right? What bank is going to do anything with a stablecoin that's going to make them blink? Mind you, RLUSD is already here. PayPal USD is already here. All that stuff. Who's going to blink? They're going to look and laugh. They're going to sit there and they're going to be like, oh, can't wait for you to crash and burn because you don't understand how it works. You're going to launch your stablecoin. Hear me out. Hear me out. You're going to launch your stablecoin. Okay. And you're going to wind up only being able to leverage your stablecoins with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Tell me how that works out for you. Let me know. Right? Circle can say, we're paired with all these other coins on all these other exchanges. USDT, Tether is going to say, we're paired with all these other coins on all these exchanges. Now, do you understand why I said they should be looking to buy an exchange? Yep. Yep. I'm not impressed, though. I'm not impressed with BSTR Miner. I'm just not. They're not a huge organization. Good move. Good move. They'll most likely grow. I'm cool with that. I'm definitely cool with that. Grab hold of something. This market is about to shake paper hands through November. I think it could possibly go beyond November. I can see solid movement through November. I can see some prior to Christmas movement. I can see some, post-Christmas drop-offs. I'm probably going to sell December timeframe, November, December timeframe. Why? Because I would expect everybody to be pulling profits. And then while there's that dip, I'm going to buy in January. Just saying, I think that's the opportunity. I really do think that's the opportunity. Rick Ritchie, I understand what you're saying. I can respect your opinions on that. I'm not going to be out. My plan is I'm going to pause, take my profit. At the same time, I'll be looking at real estate. I'll be looking at investment in other businesses. I'll be looking at taking from one piece of my portfolio and sprinkling into other pieces of my portfolio. That's what I'd be looking at. And then I turn around and look at, well, what's that? Let me see if I can do that. That's what I'm looking for. I can see the alt season extending partially into Q1, but I think that December we're going to see a dip. I think December we could see a dip just because people are going to be pulling profit, vacations, all that good stuff. Things normally shut down or slow down. And then I see January picking up again. So I'll be paying attention. I'll be paying like mad close attention to the Grow My Bag crypto tracker and the GMB X Factor. Why? Because I think there will be dips. And I'm going to want to see what my confidence level is in each one of those coins that I have at least a modicum of confidence in, and be able to say, I'm willing to get back into that coin at this level, and I'm willing to give it this time frame. Because I think next year could wind up being the wild, wild west. For many reasons. For many reasons. A hell of a lot more infrastructure, a hell of a lot more adoption, a hell of a lot more everyday use. I think that's when that's going to start kicking in. You'll see some retail players come in and say, okay, we're going to accept at the very least Bitcoin and a stable coin. Because that's the problem with retailers. They're like, oh, we got to be able to accept stable coins. If we're going to do crypto, we've got to accept stable coins. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I don't know if it's going to be the Great Reset, man. I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know. And by reset, what do you mean? Money transfer? Well, the laws say money transfer is going to go from the poor to the rich. So you better know what you're doing. Monero really could wind up being your play. That's right. Hutanik has a point. Monero really could be your play. But if the big companies out there have a plan, I don't want to be left behind. So I'm playing for value. That's my play. I'm playing for value. I want to snatch as much as I can for as long as I can and then watch it grow. Nothing goes up in a straight line, right? If you look at the market now, I'll even show you guys how it came out of. So right there, you can see it came out of the track that it was on, right? Because we had the three dots right here, and it connected. You zoom that out, and you see where it could have gone. It's already broken below, but you can see if you zoom in a little bit, you can see right here where it's starting to flatten out. Well, if it touches right here, right, went down to here. If it touches right here and it's starting to go back up, how far does it go back up? Because I think this is the track. If it comes back and resumes that track, bounces along. So there are ways that you can actually see that, hey, this could work. This could work. Right? A lot of people calling it the dot-com bubble 2.0. I would call it the dot-com bubble 2.0 for some NFTs, a lot of the memes, let's say most of them, right? They're going to implode. I would say it's a dot-com 2.0 for all those late players to the game that really don't know what they're doing and how to do it. I could see that, right? So that's kind of what I'm paying attention to. I don't want to swim with the whales. I want to swim with the sharks. Because they're going to eat. They eat, I eat. All those little fish with the suction on top of the head, attached to the shark, going about their business. Shark eats, I eat. I'm not worried about the whales. I'm worried about the sharks. I want to be with them. More like killer whales. Smart as hell. Just saying. Smart contracts will be an impact like social media, not .com with AOL. I'm going to tell you now, AOL was not a failure. AOL was not a failure. Best story I've ever seen. AOL went down. Why did it go down? They sent out all those CDs. Everybody used it. Everybody was interested. And then they went down. News press conference. Sorry we went down. We didn't realize we would be this popular. We're fixing it now. Yeah. Yeah. They were so popular that Gateway Computers wanted to start their own. I led that team. There were so many Gateway stores at the time. We were going to put all the technology into, because you needed ISP, hotspots. We were going to wire each one of those stores and put everything in the closets, in the back. So each store would be a local ISP. Boom. I left, so I never saw it, come to fruition. And obviously, Gateway Computers, yeah. But we had the plan. They just never followed through. Gateway lost out to Dell. Great story about how Gateway was the computer company. And then Michael Dell, out of nowhere. Friends live down the block from him in Austin, Texas. Out of nowhere, came out with Dell, better quality products, and just blew them out the water. Sound like crypto is to the banking industry? You're there, you're established, you're lethargic, you're comfortable. Somebody new is going to come along, crypto, and blow you out the water. Your plan of action is to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum, while Coinbase and Kraken have a whole smorgasbord of cryptos that they offer. I can tell you now, you know what would be interesting to me? If Coinbase went out and did the same thing, they go out and they buy, a little stock exchange, become a bank. Just saying, it's going to be interesting. Reset means how finance will be dealt with now. Crypto bills passing and seeing how banks and other institutions are flocking to crypto has shocked the system. The game has changed. Yeah, the game has definitely changed. But that's not the game. It was the game. Notice what I'm saying. They're flocking to what used to be the game. Kraken changed the game. Coinbase changed the game. Robinhood changed the game. Ripple changed the game. Banks are reacting the way they should have reacted a few years ago. As soon as you saw the SEC floundering, you should have been like, damn, they're going to lose. Let's be prepared. Let's start making friends. Let's start creating those on-ramps. Imagine if that had happened. Let's start creating those on-ramps. Let's make it easy for our customers. They didn't believe. BlackRock didn't believe. Larry Fink was like, blah. He even admitted it. But once his mind was changed, what happened? Whoa. No looking back. He became an Italian race car driver, ripped off the rear view mirror and tossed it out the window. Yeah, buddy. What did he say? He was on an interview and he said the next big thing is going to be tokenized equities. Oops. Tokenization is going to be the biggest thing out there. Boom. Banks slept on that advice. Tokenization is going to be the next biggest thing. What do you have? Yeah. So like Hutanik said, hold on. I call it strap in. You're going to be in for one hell of a ride. One hell of a freaking ride. AI doesn't work like that. What worries me is the effect. It's not a party situation. I don't know why people are so hell-bent on making a party situation. It has nothing to do with party. It has everything to do with money. Let that wash over you for a minute. It has nothing to do with party. It has everything to do with money. They want you at odds. Because while you're at odds down here, best line, Lil Wayne, I mentioned it before, Lil Wayne. Competition happens down here. Collaboration happens up here. What did I tell you yesterday? Even like yesterday when I told you. BlackRock owns Fidelity, who owns Vanguard, who owns BlackRock, who owns Vanguard, who owns Fidelity. They all the big boys, all the big girls own each other. Collaboration happens at the highest levels, and they keep everybody else competing. Before you respond, let that wash over you for a minute, and you'll see it. You will see it. Collaboration, competition. Who makes the most money? Just saying. It's not hard to see. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And you'll see it everywhere. You'll see the differences. You'll see the differences. And you'll look at people differently. You'll be like, oh, you're competition. Somebody once asked me about one of my businesses. They said, who do you think your biggest competitor is? I said, I'm sorry. Did you mean to ask me who I think my best collaborator would be? And they looked at me and choked on it. Because it hit them. They were like, oh, yeah. When I was younger, I used to cut deals with different companies. I would walk in the door, bang, 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 bang. Hey, how you doing? We do what you do. We're smaller. When you throw away business, why don't you throw it our way? And then we'll throw you a small finder's fee. Sound good? Win-win? Literally win-win? We've gotten business like that. When I was younger and I worked for another company, I did the same thing. That's how I cut my teeth in that way of thinking. That's collaboration. They don't have the time to take on small business. It costs them too much money to take on small business. Be the phone number that they give out. Hey, we can't take you on at this time. We're a little bit packed. Why don't you call this company? Because that's an endorsement. It's not advertised. It's word of mouth. But how do you make most of your money? Word of mouth. Word of mouth. So yeah, pay attention. Hutanic, exactly. If you own a business, you know word of mouth is a big deal. You know collaboration is a big deal. You're already way ahead of everybody else. So what did I say about banks? A few years ago, they should have gone to different exchanges. How can we work together? Because it looked like the SEC was going to lose. Mind you, the SEC wasn't attacking everybody else. And even a few years ago, you could tell the SEC was going to lose. They were just taking it on the chin all day, every day. Let me go make friends with this little exchange. Let me be their preferred on-ramp. And then when things are done and things are nice and the dust is settled and everything's nice and good, we could snatch them up in a heartbeat. Bam. We're already integrated. Bam. Tell me that's not killer. Just saying. I threw away that's usually how it is. It's an old IBM story. Big executive, young executive walking down the street. Young executive spots a dollar bill. He bends down to pick it up. Big executive says, don't worry about that. There'll be another one. He picked it up anyway. Kept going. Sure enough, there was another one. Don't worry about that. If we see a bunch of ones, sooner or later, there's going to be a 5. He picked up all the ones anyway. Walked down the street. Sure enough, there's a 5. Repeats for 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s. That's when the boss says, now I'll start picking up the 100s. The underling, who's no longer an underling, already has full pockets and already started picking up the 100s. You were late to the game. You were sleeping. You thought you were too good to pick up that penny from off the street, that dollar from off the street. My mother always taught me pennies make dollars. So I collected pennies. If I saw a penny, I'd fight tooth and nail to get that penny. Sure enough, when I was a kid, I could buy 3 caramels for 5 cents. So if I had 4 cents and I found a penny, I was getting my caramels. I love caramels. So yeah, I was looking at that and I'm like, yeah, pay attention to these people. Pay attention. And most people don't pay attention. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. The news out there is great. Okay? There's a lot of news out there. Find corroborating evidence. You have a story. Does it sound right? Does somebody else have a story? Do they have corroborating information? Or was it a big mistake? Or was it a press release that was disguised as a story? And then you see that same exact story in so many different places. And then you realize that's a press release. It just doesn't have press release on it. Maybe even a different writer. Maybe the title's slightly different. But when you get into the article, it's exactly the same. You're like, oh, so that's what they did. Look around to some of these articles. This coin did well. This coin did well. So people that that invested in this coin did this coin too. That's called an advertorial. Learn how to do your own research if you don't know how already. Be skeptical. Even have differing opinions. But seek out differing opinions. Why? Because every now and then they'll say something that brings you a pearl of information. Just saying. Everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I hope you enjoy what I'm doing. If you do, smash the likes, tell your friends about us, and definitely become a member like DD did tonight. It's a big deal. There's a lot that you can do. A lot. And it's kind of cool. We want to see you be successful. The whole community wants to see the rest of the community be successful. So let's do that. And there's no reason why we can't do it together. Everybody have a great night. I'll see you Sunday for the Sunday Roundup. Everybody have a good one. Bye-bye. Oh, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. I greatly appreciate it. Everybody have a good one. Bye-bye.